This episode is sponsored by Bellwright. For this Artist Spotlight series, we'd like to show you quite a bit about the individual artists at Baltimore Knife and Sword. We'll certainly expand beyond that later as we go on. We already started with Andrew Flores, showing him making a kitchen knife. Now we're going to move on to Gari Jimenez, another skilled artist, forging a forging hammer, something that hopefully we'll be using every day here in the shop. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our sponsor. The rumblings of insurgents begin to grow louder across the countryside as bells toll for vengeance. Bellwright is a single-player or co-op open-world medieval strategy survival sim game where you, as the player, are charged with picking up the pieces of your past and bringing justice to a broken nation. In childhood, you were framed for the assassination of the Crown Prince, and in order to save your life, were shepherded out of the country by a family friend. Years later, when this family friend is mysteriously killed, you return to your homeland to find answers and liberate your country from corrupt powers. Built in Unreal Engine 5, this gorgeous, sprawling open world is where you'll work your way up from a tiny settlement to the acting leader of a full-fledged rebellion. Deal with threats in different regions to gain renown, and acquire new resources to further your technologies of your towns and strengthen your cause. Add recruits as companions to complete quests or assign them to build, craft, or hunt in order to expand your settlement. What I really enjoy about this game is, even though I can play on my own, I can also enjoy playing with friends. Establish and expand your own settlements, liberate the land by assisting its villagers, and recruit others to your cause while learning more about the life you had to leave behind. Bellwright is out now in early access on Steam. Check the link in the description of this video for more information. Play now.
The earliest memory that kind of sparked an interest into the world of blacksmithing and metalwork, it has to be opening up the League of Legends launcher and seeing that somebody made Leona's Zenith blade, but real, and finding a silly show on YouTube called Man at Arms. And it was all downhill from there. My name is Gari Jimenez, and I'm one of the swordsmiths for Baltimore Knife and Sword. The hammer is kind of a pivotal thing in blacksmithing. Blacksmithing is the art of smithing, the art of striking. Without a hammer, you can't really functionally manipulate the steel. There are ways that we use materials and tools that aren't hammers to manipulate steel, but by and large, hammers are one of, if not the most important tool to our trade. The hammer that you're seeing me make in this video, it's one of the foundational patterns of doing mosaics or more complex patterns. This started life as one of our standard blocks of 31 layers. So it's 31 layers of 15N20 and 1075. I then forged it on a bias to form Cs, and then took those Cs to form Ws and stacked them up. So this is 155 layers of Ws forged into a hammer. One of the first things, actually the first thing that I tried to make was a knife. The first thought that went through my head was, wow, this sucks. I was hand filing bevels on my first knife, and I was just sawing away at it hours. I didn't have money for a grinder. I didn't know what a grinder was, first of all. The entire time I was thinking to myself, who chooses to do this? And then the second thought that went through my mind was I could be playing Halo right now. So I stopped and went and played Halo, and then came back and started filing away again. And eventually I had a knife-shaped object, which was not a knife, but it certainly looked like a knife. To forge your own hammer, to make your own hammer, is an interesting exercise in going back to the roots of the craft, because the smith would make his own tools. Need a tool, make a tool. Blacksmithing to me, or the way that I approach the trade, comes a lot from how I grew up and the way that I approach life, which is more focused on data and the sciences. So I look at, hey, is this heat treatment to spec? How thin does this blade need to be on the edge? A lot of my joy, a lot of what I really like to do is prototyping and figuring out Damascus patterns and trying to find, hey, how can I get this form out of this type of pattern manipulation? I had a lot of mentors and people who inspired me, whose work and attitude inspired me to continue going. People with the likes of Sean Hollywood, Josh Fickenshire, Mara Fickenshire, Kerry, Salem Straub, Will Brigham, Mareko Mamasi, Will Stelter. What's up? Walter Sorrells was a big one. You know, the old Walter Sorrells tip for the knife maker videos were really helpful. And just the community around me as well. I mean, the fact that all those guys are very open and show the processes of how they do some of their patterns, and being able to talk to these guys and say, hey, I have steps 1 through 5, but I don't know what steps 6, 7, and 8 are. Can you help me? It's a pretty cool feeling. So about 3 or 4 years into me playing around with metal, I had gotten the idea into my head to turn it from a hobby that paid for itself into a living, which was a lot easier said than done. I never actually realized or gave much thought to how much work it is to run a business, especially one where you have to make everything from scratch. So it was about the 4th or 5th year in that I had started my LLC and started selling bars of Damascus to people, to other knife makers, or selling hunting knives and camp knives, or S-hooks, J-hooks, bottle openers, general blacksmithing stuff. So I started making chef knives, and that brought me great success. And, you know, met Andrew and became friends with him, and we built off of each other, and we started making some really good chef knives. And that is when it went from I could make a living to, hey, this is actually pretty good. And then I got a phone call from Kerry. And he just went, hi, I'm Kerry Stagmer from Baltimore Knife and Sword, and I had a panic attack on the phone, just going, oh, yes, you are! I know your voice from Man-at-Arms videos. He said, if you're not busy, come on by, and here we are. It's kind of surreal to see myself on a Man-at-Arms video in full Mandalorian armor making a darksaber, or making a medieval-style longsword rendition of a lightsaber, or making orc swords. Like, it's mind-blowing every time. Even this, I mean, making a hammer for the channel. It's kind of cool.
Thanks for watching. Click the logo to subscribe, or click here to see more on the Almy channel. If you're interested in the artist, click here to see more information.